Are they aware, like, of these things? Like, you
Aware.
want a partner that's really aware of
Mhm.
um emotional needs, and would like and can coach you through like dark times. Like, men aren't always the leaders, you know what I'm saying? Like, women
Let's go.
definitely
Can
Yes.
you
have.
say that again one time to the cheap men in the back?
Men are not always the leaders of the.
Okay.
Yeah, but because it's a two-way street.
What's
Yep.
up, kapwatids? We're back.
It's your favorite Ates, and welcome to season 4.
For those just tuning in, we are two Filipinx soul sisters on a decolonizing journey, currently based on Turtle Island, aka North America.
We met each other again this lifetime in a healing circle, and that's how the Babaylan Bruja Book Club podcast was born.
This season, we did something a little different by engaging in a series of study break conversations with honored artists, authors, and thought leaders in the Filipinx diaspora.
We enjoyed connecting with Kapwa with different perspectives and viewpoints, and we're so excited to extend these conversations to you.
So we interviewed writer and music recording artist Mark Teodosio on his The Realest Bayani comic book creation process.
We also talk a little bit about his dating life perspectives, his own creative rituals, and his own spiritual references and stories. So with that being said, let's dive in.
Hi, Babaylan Brujas. It's us, and we're doing a study break with my Bayani brother here.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
All right. So, as always, we're going to start with a little bit of breath work, just to tap into our bodies and just to come into the moment. So, I can lead that if that is okay with y'all. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So, take some deep breaths and connect to your breath. If it feels safe to you, I invite you to close your eyes. And I invite you to take some deep inhales through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time, inhale and exhale. One last time, inhale deeply. And on the exhale, just let it all go. I invite you to continue to take deep breaths at your own space and in your own timing. And as you do so, just check in with your body. Bring it fully into this moment, fully into this space. See if you can come into this present moment, whatever you were walking through just now and whatever you've got going on in the future in an hour or so. Just see if you can just release it a little bit and just bring yourself fully into the present moment. As always, we want to acknowledge Bathala and all of our guides and our benevolent ancestors that have brought us here today. We also acknowledge the lands that we're all on, knowing that we cannot do our own remembrance work without remembering the indigenous people here in Turtle Island. We also acknowledge you, dear Kapwatid, no matter wherever and whenever you are tuning in.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you, sis. I feel all grounded now.
Good.
I'll be like, hey, everybody, study break. Thanks for tuning in. We have Mark Bayani. Say your last name. It's Portuguese.
You know the tribe.
Teodosio. How do you say it?
Teodosio.
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 Nice. Okay, so Mark, tell the people who you are. Who is Mark Teodosio?
How you doing, guys? Peace to everyone's happening with the Babaylan Book Club. I definitely want to introduce myself as a author of the comic book The Realest Bayani, founder of TCNY, The City Needs You, is the publishing company. You can see the sister Ivy holding it down with the copies actually. And I'm just really intentionally creating bridges for non-Filipinos and Filipino Americans to the culture of the motherland as, I decolonize and, peel back layers of being a Brooklyn-born Filipino.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for that. So can I ask, like, where did your decolonization journey, where did that was there something that triggered it? Was it something gradual, or was it something that was like, you just stumbled upon, like, you know what, I need to decolonize? Like, was it like a big impact in your life, or was it something that kind of just like grew?
Yeah, when did it all start?
So when I started writing the Realest Bayani #1, I was in this state of like just finding out what the Philippines was like in its current political climate with Duterte in power. And learning that I kind of seen like the political stances of Filipino Americans as well as Filipinos. So I learned to kind of like sift through the propaganda and the actual need of the country and the state of our American society was going through, and just really trying to learn like, where do I stand in all of this? Like as a writer, and as also, I didn't get to mention, as a MC, as a hip hop artist, like how do I use my platform to not just kind of like express it, but also define, you know, uh, what other people that don't know, like how can I define this in a more uh I guess building block kind of way for them, where they could start from one, and learn like where it starts. So my decolonizing started when I started writing about Lapu Lapu. And once I started writing about him and trying to find like where the Spanish had, totally tried to eradicate our culture, I realized how strong we were. The decolonization took place when I realized how strong the spirit of our people was.
Yeah.
And I realized how much more pride I could take in being Filipino, and how many more Filipino Americans like me, especially the generation under me, like how knowledge are they of our history? How well versed are they in, where their parents came from and their own roots? Because every Filipino doesn't originate from the same history. Like we all have different nuances in the islands of where our parents originated. So that's really where it started.
Yeah, I like what you say, how we are kind of nuanced, and it makes sense because we have so many islands, so many dialects. And then the story of Lapu Lapu, it hits home right now because I read about the battle. So like a question came to mind for me, was like, who is Lapu Lapu to you? What does that represent? Since you're kind of creating all these types of art that serve as like a bridge for, the current Filipinx diaspora, the ones to come. Like, I guess like if they were to reference you and be like, okay, he started when he started learning about Lapu Lapu. What does Lapu Lapu mean to you?
So Lapu Lapu for me is the first Bayani. And I couldn't really write about Bayani without going back to who the first heart of the native resistance was.
Yes.
I wrote that inside the captions, where he was the heart of the native resistance. And I feel like with him, like it was crazy because like some people almost make him a myth, because after Magellan, post Magellan, there is no Lapu Lapu after that. And in this book right here, this book right here is really key. This is the
Tell them
TCNY
what that
Universe. This is the
TCNY.
TCNY Universe presents,
Uh-huh.
and it has Lapu Lapu with his Bayani, with his wifey. He actually does have a real wife.
Funny.
I forget her name. but he really did have a wifey. But I named this character Mistina, and she's kind of like the matriarch of the M that's on Bayani's mask. She's the first one that wears it. So she kind of like I kind of add this superhero lore of him having this Bebean, this Babaylan, right? The Babaylan, right? And am I pronouncing it right? Because I'm wild Filipino American with it. So
Nah,
I'm
but
over-
I mean, I mean, people say babayan, babaylan,
Babaylan.
like there's so many ways.
but the priestess is Babaylan, right?
Yes, Babaylan.
So
Yeah.
so she is the daughter of whoever the high priest was in his tribe. And this is where the super historians are like, bro, you're so like off with inaccurate with facts. And like for me, I'm just writing a
Who
comic.
are the historians? Where are they from?
I don't even know, but you know, they pop up online. Nobody's really attacked me.
Oh, trolls. Got it.
No one's really attacked me. Like, you know, I'm thankful for people that do correct me in certain things
Humble.
because I feel like I want to express it in a way. And I feel like when people do come through with the corrections, like
Yeah.
why be offended by it? You know,
Yeah,
I'm Filipino American. Like you're only educating me and informing me on how to rep the culture better.
Yeah.
You know, I forget what I was saying with this. Oh yeah, so for me, Lapu Lapu is the first Bayani, pretty much.
I like that. And I like your reflection on how when people correct you, that's just a learning experience. And I think especially since we are Filipino American and we're decolonizing and there's so much of our history that we don't know that was taken from us, you know, we're learning stuff all the time. So the stuff even that I learned, some of the stuff that I took in, I can't think of any specific examples at the moment, but like there are things that I've had to learn even in the beginning of my decolonization process, and there's some different facts. I'm like, oh, okay, this is different, right? But it's all about like you said, being a bridge. I love how you said that, like you want your comic books to be a bridge for those who want to decolonize, and for also for other non-Filipinos to kind of know our lore and to know our strength and to know who we are. So that's beautiful.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah. And it's also dope that you you know, the Filipinos are known for folklore or just oral lore, so for you to be the bridge of like, you know, being resourceful and just using, I know you collaborate with other artists, and you know, you have been really dedicated to just, how many do you have out now? Like Amy has all 4.
Yeah,
I only have 2, by the way, so this is just the problem. I need to go.
it's okay. That's a major book too. Issue 3 is pretty major. That's when all the roads lead to a natural selection tournament. And you know, and every book is pretty much a good start, you know, for Bayani, because there's only 4 books out. So it's not hard for a new reader to go back. It's not like you got to collect 40 books. You know, it's only like a 5-issue origin series, and the 5th issue is coming out before we close out 2022.
Nice. That's so cool. So how let the people know, like, how long have you been writing the story of Bayani?
I started with my just with the title alone, it came in 2016. And around that time, like I feel like God had me in a place where it was like you've came to the point where I need you to, like, you've learned how to walk, run, stand, fall, jump. Now, like in terms of knowledge, in terms of being a student, now it's time to fly. So for me, like in 2016, once I learned the word Bayani, like that's when the story writing started. And from there, I debuted in New York Comic Con in 2018 with issue number 1. And with that, we pushed to number 2 in 2019. And then 2020 came. 2020 was a time of resetting for like the whole entire like human race.
Yeah.
Like there was a term of like renewal. you know, and it's from these ashes, you know, with no pun intended, but a lot of people were lost. Like we lost a lot of people to something that people thought was like a fluke. Like it wasn't even real.
Yeah.
But how could we explain the people that passed from it, you know? And I'm pretty sure with years to come, like we'll be able to explain COVID and all that. But with 2020, like there was a super reset where I created Bayani Rebirth.
Yeah.
And with Bayani Rebirth, that became the new official #1, you know? So I had to reset all that. And at that point, we were averaging about one book per year. So by 2021, I did between 2020 and 2021, I was like this. I was just writing nonstop. And by 2022, we had issue 3 dropping in January. March, we dropped issue 4.
Yeah.
In August, we dropped TCNY Universe Presents. I'm sorry, in October, we dropped for New York Comic Con, we dropped TCNY Universe Presents. And now with issue 5, we're dropping the final issue of the origin story arc. So that's
Wow.
4 books in 1 year,
Wow.
you know? So
Wow.
it was like really official because it's like, wow, imagine if I had a real crazy budget. Like what if I was under, you know, a bigger company, you know? So I mean, we did super impressive for like a small publishing company.
Yeah. I mean, how big is your staff and who's your writing coach? Because I need to hire them.
My writing coach is me.
Oh, there you go.
My
You
writing
could be
coach,
a writing coach.
my writing coach is reading my story a million times, revising it a billion times, and just like it's like practice. It's like martial arts writing. You
Yeah.
just keep writing and going over stuff, researching, and then chopping off all the fat. You know, it just comes down to making your shit so much more accurate. You know.
Yeah. 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 Wow. I like how you said that 2020 was definitely like a rebirth and for your art. And was there a rebirth? Can you, if you don't mind, was there a rebirth that personally you went through and during that time as well?
Oh my God, entirely. Like I
spiritually?
was living with a partner at that time, and for some reason she was going through these modes of uh I guess like let's say insecurities or things like that. And you know, we're like stuck in the house. I couldn't even escape these arguments. So I would just go to I would just go to the bedroom and pray my ass off. Like literally. I'll like take a shower, be super naked, praying in the bedroom, and we'll still be arguing. And I'm like, yo, God's in this room. Like, what are you doing right now? And and just to put it in, like in pure transparency, like, I was coming out of a super toxic relationship. And I guess it was necessary for me to just learn to not really change. Like, no matter how like crazy the world or people or situations get, like, you still got to be that pure hearted person and not like have everyone else answer for the wrongs done to you by others, and I came out of there and like was able to, free myself of that, you know, I guess you could say, trial. Like it was a pure like I don't even know what it was about, but like God was just like, don't ever move out unless you're gonna marry this woman. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for
That sounds like it was a personal portal for y'all.
Yeah, it was definitely a rebirth for me, yeah, personally.
So you mentioned that you don't want to change your pure heart, but like, I'm so curious from the male perspective, like, what are some things you think you did learn or you did grow or change from that relationship?
I mean, like, what did I learn from that relationship? To just really focus on me, and not really commit to relationships until, me and that person have really fully discovered each other in, ups and downs, like to not just jump. Like some people like go through those trials and they're able to pull out of it. But I learned from that, like that sometimes you got to like find out what it is that's deeper than the surface of that person. Like
Yeah.
what can I do to either help that person heal certain parts before we enter into a realm where we can't really run away from each other or create that space. You know, like what can we do to
Or like
further?
slow down before you go into that deep of a commitment thing.
Yeah,
Live together.
yeah, exactly. Definitely slow down, because we're in that point of adulthood as we're in that point of adulthood where it's like I really don't really want to be out there like that. I would like to be in a space with a person where we could build together and, you know, contribute to each other's journeys and success, you know, and you know, and I feel like, you know, if a person's not on that level yet, and they still have other relationship issues or personal issues, then, you know, I would really want to help them heal first, you know.
You're so helpful. You want to help. There's a lot to unpack, and Sissy knows. Relationships, emerging therapist here, is something like, you know, I don't know if we have time for this episode today, but I just wonder, and you and I talked about it too, Mark, like briefly. I noticed there's something within like the Filipinx, like, you know, male identified individuals, like we need more like our Filipino kings to like come forth and like just claim and be that like divine masculine. So from your own experience, your own lens, like, I don't know, what would you, because you're going to be an elder to some folks listening to this, like, what would you say to the
young men,
kings? Yeah, the kings right
young
now
kings out
too.
there.
Yep.
I think when it for men when choosing a partner, or male or female, you know, I guess, you know, there's no particular orientation, but just in choosing a partner in general, like you have to see whether or not they're compatible with your journey. It's like when you play a role playing game. You know, who would you take on your quest with you? Like, would they be able to fill in where, you know, where your weaknesses are? You know, do they care to strengthen your weaknesses? You know, are they aware, like, you know, of these things? Like, you want a partner that's really aware of emotional emotional needs, and would like and can coach you through like dark times. Like, men aren't always the leaders, you know what I'm saying? Like, women
Let's go.
definitely
Yeah.
Can
have.
you say that again one time for the cheap men in the back?
Men are not always the leaders.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, because it's a two-way street. You know?
Yep. It really is. I like that. You know, recently my partner and I, my husband and I, we just got back from the Bahamas. What? But like,
That's why she's all like low-key sun-kissed, you know, in the winter.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see that sun glow.
Browner than me over here.
Oh yeah, I was telling sis that we went kayaking on the open ocean, right? And that's what our ancestors did, right? We were like navigators.
My boy Toledo said it in a verse. He was like, Vikings of the Far East.
Yes, we were the best navigators. So anyway, I was scared on the ocean. I was like, ancestors, help me, help me. But I got used to it out there. It was nice. But anyway, going back to what we were saying, like, I really appreciate Mark, what you said about like men, like it's a co-leadership thing, right? In a relationship. And, you know, my partner and I, we had like a little photo session, and the photographer was like, you know, what's the secret to, like, we've been married for a long time now. You're like, what's the secret? And, you know, for us, it's like 200%. Like, he has to be 100%. I have to be 100%. 100 and 100 is 200. Like, he's not my other half. That's not my other half. He's on his own journey. He is, you know what I mean? Like, he, and then he lets me lead. And that's what I appreciate too. Like, he's not like,
not hitting the heart.
I know. That's sweet. So, but anyway, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you saying that. So
yeah.
They
heard slow down, compatibility of values, and
men aren't the only leaders.
Co-leadership.
co-leadership. 3 gems. Bayani left. For y'all's listening.
You know the tribe.
Whenever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some of them might be like, no. But anyways, yeah, so we covered that. I want to come back to your artistry. You're MC as well. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? You got some tracks out. What's your like favorite song, cleverest line? Where'd that come from?
So MCing just came from like being a youth inside of a Filipino nonprofit organization. They would, bring us like, Marque, do the twist again. And like sing whatever. They would put me on stage like during Christmas or the Atiatians. And they would just have us perform, and they would throw wild change like onto the stage while we were performing. So it kind yeah. I forget where that came from in the culture, but like random people from the crowd would just throw wild quarters onto the stage while we're performing.
That's crazy.
But it kind of got me over that bug of performing, So when spelling bees and stuff came, I was already ready. Like I wasn't shy. I was ready to step to the mic and the
Hey, tell
karaoke.
me.
Huh?
So how old were you when you were performing? Like
I was like 8, 9.
oh,
snap.
Word.
Bayani.
Yeah. And then like when I fell in love with hip hop, and this was the era of the Walkmans, I had performed like a Dr. Dre song, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Oh, snap.
And it was nothing but a G thing. And we performed it. It was me and my cousin Ian. And yeah, from there, like they would always have like a side B on the tapes, and it would have the instrumental, and I would write my own lyrics to the instrumentals, and I would record from tape deck to tape deck, rapping over karaoke machines. And then eventually around like my 20s, I started going to the studio as Omen Child. That was my first rap name. I used to go by Omen Child.
Okay.
Yeah, they like called me O Child, whatever. And then I evolved into Mark Marvel, and from there I became Bayani. I just like used my regular name, Mark Teodosio, as a rapper name. I kind of didn't like it, but my boy was like, just do it, bro. If you don't want to be Mark Marvel no more, be Mark Teodosio. And I was like, all right. But then everybody started calling me Bayani after a while.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I should have became just Bayani, like, overall. But I was like, like all rappers have like 15 different names. They're like, AKA this, AKA that.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'll be Mark Teodosio, AKA Bayani.
Nice.
And my love for hip hop really came from being in New York, the Mecca, the birthplace of hip hop. And I feel like God definitely put me here for a reason, to be born in New York, to give me that edge and that like that street aura where it's like you're not just Filipino, you're gonna be like what Filipinos in the Philippines are gonna be emulating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a great place and time to be born. To be born in that golden era of hip hop really gave me a whole different mentality,
That's amazing. So, speaking of being born, can you tell the people, do you know your sun sign, your moon sign?
Sun, moon, rising.
Sun, moon, rising?
I think my sun sign is an Aries, right?
Okay.
All right, and my moon sign is a Pisces, and I believe my rising is a Pisces.
Oh, snap.
Water.
Fire, water, water. I like that. I like that.
I might be wrong. Nobody told me to do this homework before the interview. But I remember
study break.
from what I recall, Roro from the Katipunan group had done readings for me in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you got like a fire, water? I talk about elements a lot. Like we correlate the sun, moon, rising to
I definitely have a fire. I guess every woman can attest to that. That isn't by my side at this point. There was some fire impulsiveness in my past relationships, but I do have a water vibe when it comes to my emotions and the way I react to things.
Yeah.
I really go with the flow. When I had that relationship in 2020, like I was really searching for every single outlet to try to figure out how to help her, navigate through these difficulties, like of what she's believing about me, what she thinks, feels, her fears. I was trying everything from therapy to John Gray, like why Venus and Mars collide. Like I was doing wild
That's
reading. I was taking shit right off her shelf, and I was like, oh my god, like maybe I could do this. And yeah, I really do feel like I have that water, kind of energy.
Yeah, I felt that like divine. You got that like I would just say more attuned to emotions and what
Yeah.
they mean. And then so I can tell from my own interaction with you that you've been pretty introspective. And then it makes sense, you from New York, like that fire. And
Yeah,
my
word.
got that New York, like,
Yeah,
come
definitely.
here kind of thing.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
there's that fire, but you have that flow too. I mean, you have the
yes.
flow in your artistry, in your verses. So
Thank
that
you.
definitely comes out. And Pisces are very spiritual. They are very
Very
deeply connected
intuitive.
to the divine, very intuitive. So yeah, you can definitely see that in your craft as well. So
Thank you. Yes, appreciate it.
yeah. So
We
uh,
last more question.
what's
How
that?
are we doing on time?
We're like it's like 5:30. So I want to be respectful of your time, Mark, but we just
Yo,
have
you got all night. You got all night.
We could
Well,
talk all night. I mean,
we
shoot.
we actually
But I
could.
hit not
Yeah, you
record
could
though.
chop it and edit and take what
Yeah.
you want.
Well, we wanted to talk about, so the Babaylan, were our ancestors, like high priestesses. They're like our ritualists. So we wanted to ask you, like, do you have any rituals that either help you personally day to day, or like with your craft, with your writing, or with your emceeing? Like, what is a ritual that really helps you?
Like I really found my rituals like in doing hip hop and rapping. The way I write songs is really just like isolating myself
Hmm.
and really just like, I mean I take part in, a little bit of smoking, maybe, some other, nothing too crazy though. Like I'm pretty on the natural side, you know. But yeah, like whatever enhances like my ability to just tap in.
Hmm.
Breathing really helps a lot. Like I noticed that when I do breathe, which is why I didn't mind the breathing exercise, then I'm able to kind of censor myself. I'm able to clear my mind. I'm able to control the flow inside my body. Just regulating my own body is like super key. But there's no like different anything. Like I like dim lighting, you know. Uh, and yeah, the music mad loud when I'm writing. Like even when it comes down to writing the comic book, I'll put
Yeah.
lo-fi music on,
Yeah.
or like dark pianos. Like whatever is the mood of what I'm writing is
Yeah.
what really sets the tone for my like creativity.
Nice. So plant medicine, uh, music, lighting. That's like ritualistic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's
you're
like
right, you're right.
church. That's church. What?
Okay, yeah. I'm speaking
I don't know
to-
about plant medicine, but
Did we do? I think we did. I mean, our
I
ancestors.
mean, yeah, our ancestors. probably-
Pre-colonial, I think we definitely did a bunch of.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Did
I'm
you go to
pretty sure.
church, Mark, growing up?
Yeah, I grew up. I was baptized Catholic, but then I became I was baptized Christian, like born again Christian, in like 2015, and that was a pretty long journey for me. My fault. 2005, I was
Whoa.
baptized Christian.
Okay.
That's 10.
So
That's
yeah. It was like in my college years, that I had found God, and more like God found me, and really just guided my path. Like I became more conscious of where His hand was, in my life. If you look at the back of your issue 3 actually,
Yeah.
and flip the issue, flip the issue 3 that you got, the one that you have, Steph.
I got the issue through too. This
Yeah, there you go. So, and in that issue, like you could see like God's face in the image, in that back piece, the back cover.
The back of this one,
Yes, yes.
his face.
Yeah. If you look at it from far, right, you'll see Jesus's face
Oh,
in all of the characters.
like it's like one of those things you gotta hold it far away from your face.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
And shout out.
that's his mouth, eyes.
Yep.
yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice.
That's why you gotta go on YouTube. Y'all listening on what's it, Spotify,
Oh
etc.
my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's like, and once you see God in something, you cannot unsee him.
Yes.
You cannot unsee God in the work that's happening inside of your life. Once you see him, though, like you have to really see him or her, or you just got to see the spirit. Like you cannot unsee how God is working in your life. You'll see how like bad relationships were part of, strengthening you and adding gems to your crown on how you appreciate yourself where the other person didn't. You know what I mean? And like, and that's something my pastor asked me. He asked me, do you see God in what you do? And I literally had to get it illustrated because I see how God is moving in what I'm doing. Because as much as we see like, the Spanish colonizing us as a bad thing, right? Like where the enemy tried to use evil on us, God was doing something greater. You know what I'm saying? Batala was doing something greater for the inner divinity to be rediscovered later, to realize that it's not Christianity that has to be preached, but it's that self-savior, it's that savior inside of you, inside of each of us, that Jesus, the son and daughter of God, the sonship and daughtership of being under God and being obedient and being aware of his spirit in your life, that really guides you to where God is trying to take you and how he's trying to use you.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, like, how has your Christianity or your beliefs, in God and Jesus, how has that informed your decolonization process? Have you found it to be helpful, or like how do you see Christianity through the lens of decolonization now that you've been like decolonizing for a little bit?
I never see it as the enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Because we could say that the Europeans are the enemy, right? But where are we today? We're multiplied by millions. So did they really stop us? Did they really stop where the spirit of, the indigenous original natives of every land, did they really stop us? Or did they put us, did they like kind of assimilate us into their system to the point where it's like now we've become equal in knowledge and capability and like the ability to overthrow? Because at the end of the day, we don't have to tolerate this. It's just that we got to go to work in the morning. So that's the only reason why the system hasn't been overthrown, because we haven't created our own currency yet. But once all that is figured out, it's a fucking wrap for all this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap for all of that. But I'm not really like on some revolutionary shit. I'm on some evolutionary shit.
Okay, come on.
okay.
Because it's necessary, because we have families, right? We can't be out there shooting guns, trying to go against police, try to go against the military. Like, we don't have the power to do that. We'll be wiped out. It'll be a useless, futile effort. The only thing that we could do is empower the community, the next generations, to create their own systems, their own municipalities, their own or even empower them to become educated enough and able enough to govern the future. The real revolution is in the knowledge.
Evolution.
And let
versus
the church
revolution.
say,
Amen.
Hallelujah.
hallelujah. I'm like, but Mark just
Honolulu.
took us to church right now, y'all.
Okay, I respect
I
that.
love
I
that.
respect that. I
Revolve,
respect
not,
that.
I mean, evolve, not,
Evolution versus revolution.
yeah, evolution, not revolution.
Right. I
Rebirth.
mean, wherever 2 or 3 is gathered in his name, he's there. He's here right now.
Word. That's such a perspective.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. I appreciate that perspective about how you don't see it as necessarily the enemy. It's not the enemy. It's not something to battle against necessarily. So yeah, I appreciate
I feel like it's a strategy, right? Like what if the Europeans came in accepting what we already had, right? And
I wish they did.
understanding the parallels of, you know, what we understood in nature versus what they understood in nature, you know? And a lot of like, I think it's really strategy to welcome someone who may pose a threat or can be an ally. So you kind of see what they have available. Like, what weapons do you guys have? What are you guys here for, really? Like, you welcome them first, but they're already in your midst. So you have the ability to, you know, they're foreigners, so they can't really run that far, you know, or survive getting back to the beaches. But, you know, I think we already knew what was gonna happen. I think Lapu Lapu already knew what was coming to the shores. You know?
Yeah, that's real. Because we're literally I just read this morning about and it doesn't say much about Lapu Lapu, but he was the first Bayani, or in some ways, like I'm registering Bayani as like the first, like, I don't want to say resistance, but like first to like go against the grain kind of thing. The hero, right? To not conform to just like allowing these Spaniards to come on and be like,
and the funny part is that it wasn't even the Spanish that really wanted to fight Lapu Lapu. It was Humabon, who was the Raja at the time, who kind of like made a blood pact with the Spanish.
He betrayed the shit out of Lapu Lapu, yeah.
Yeah.
For resources?
Well, they were rivals. They were rivals for the longest. You know what I'm saying? They were definitely rivals for a while before like the Spanish came. They just
right.
He just couldn't, you know, incapacitate Lapu Lapu's power. If Lapu Lapu was able to gather 1,500 warriors at the time, that's a lot of fucking warriors. You know?
Yeah, we're reading 1521. I don't have the book, but that's the study break we're taking from that particular book. And the chapter we just read was on Lapu Lapu and all that with Raja Humabon and all of that stuff and the 1,500 warriors. Yeah, so we're just right. That's where we are right now.
I kept reading about Humabon. I was like, why is he such a traitor right now? I was getting so like, not like hella upset, but just like, how could you? There's gotta be a story behind this too, but it's like very lightly mentioned, you know? But I was just like, why is he a hater? Huh?
I gotta get up on that book too.
Yeah.
We have a Brown Girl Cliff Notes you can listen to when you're, I don't know.
Oh, word. All right.
Yeah, that's what we do. We summarize it.
That's sort of like the purpose of this whole.
We read
Brown
the book.
Girl Cliff Notes.
We read the book, so you should, but you don't have to.
You can, but you don't need.
But
yeah.
So
it's there whenever people are ready.
Who wrote that book, 1521?
Auntie Judy. What was her last name? We always just call her
I believe.
Robinson. Judy Robinson. Yeah.
Filipina?
Yeah, Filipina. She lives here now. She grew up there, and then in 2021, which was the 500th anniversary of Magellan coming to Philippines, she kind of wanted to really dive into the history of like what happened and who was Magellan, you know. So it's really been challenging for us. Well, I'll speak for myself, you know, because it's like you want to come out the gate and like hate Magellan but you know, it's like he's a human being. He's just a part of history. There are systems in play that made everything go sideways a little bit. But at the end of the day, you know,
And people.
He's a person. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a person, and there's people too, like involved.
Yeah.
About the
There's people, our own
translation.
people.
Yeah, who recorded, like those are the things that are like questionable because everything was like burned or, you know, orally said. So it's just kind of like us to like connect the dots. And I thought Judy did a good job of like her lot of research, and she wrote it in the 2020, the portal. I call it 2020 the portal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so she you know, kind of put it all together, and there's like two big resources about one of his scribes that followed him around the
Pigafetta, Antonio Pigafetta.
Pigafetta. Yes, Antonio. Yeah, you know.
Come on.
You know what it is.
You know the tribe.
You go teach these young. You go teach.
You had to research this for your
Hella research.
Yeah.
But shit, we're like we get lazy. I be lazy. I'm like, I could just look this up on the internet. But honestly, like if it was a course taught by a male figure, it would be more interesting.
Why?
I don't know, because like it's always women offering stuff. It's always women offering stuff like healing circles and shit. Like we need to see more men out there like spearheading like these groups of rediscovery just for the Filipino.
And you know what's really crazy, right? I think we had this convo where it's like where is the Filipino male in all of this? Like, you know, why aren't we leading more? Because I see the women super united, organized, tribed up, doing circles, doing all of these like, you know, women empowerment, small businesses. I'm like, where's the dudes? What are we doing right now? Like, I'm just trying to join the movement. So I'm like, I guess the women are leading this. All right, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. I have no quarrel with that. Why would I?
Yes. But yeah, that is a question. Like but like maybe it's just time for the women to lead, and that's okay.
It is
too.
time.
That's okay too.
That's true too.
Yeah.
True.
But we really appreciate your voice. Like seriously, I appreciate your voice in the community. And
thank you, Mark, for being here. Do you have any like closing ways they can find you on
it's over already?
What website, everything? Can you shout it out? Shameless plug, you know. I mean
we can have the after party after a hit stop.
Yeah,
we can have a little after party.
Just follow us at The City Needs You on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. You can follow me on my personal page, bayani.nyc, BAYANI.NYC. We have the 5th issue debuting in December. We're probably just gonna go straight to the website with it, www.savvydesigns, SAVIDESIGNS.NYC, savvydesigns.nyc. Savvy Designs is my partner. He works with me during all of my pop-ups, all of the conventions. So it's going to be on his website. So definitely look out for that and support your indie comics. You know, it's only a matter of time before Bayani becomes a household name.
Yeah.
Especially for Filipinos. There's a wave happening for us, a really powerful wave. And, and I believe it's because our warriorship has been so hidden for a long time that it's the 1500 warriors reborn into this century. You know, it's like just activating inside of our genetics. You know, so when you see that red aura on all 3 of us, it's because we activated.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Well, thank you, Bayani brother. I appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing for the community, in the community. And you know, we'll connect more later.